for your participation in life. What is it now that you have, the knowledge base that you've accumulated, and tell us a little bit about the company, your firm,
Yes.
all right, and also how you see your firm um, coming to assist with the development process that's going on right
Yes.
now. So,
So our firm, I started as a law clerk while at Georgetown University Law Center on Capitol Hill, the only law school on Capitol Hill, Georgetown University's Law Center. I am still in the job, but not as a clerk. I worked as a clerk. We worked for Lloyd's of London, USAA, Allstate, all the big insurance companies.
Yeah.
The gentleman was a U.S. Army paratrooper, a ranger, Thomas Alvin Farrington. He was chairman of the Democratic Party in our county, Prince George's in Maryland. He was progressive. He was a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, handsome man, extremely intelligent, and very open-minded. He believed in meritocracy. He did not believe in prejudice. And when he met me, I was working for his junior partner, John Smallwood, who had hired me in 1988. So I worked. Georgetown didn't want me to work because they didn't want me to fail. There was a policy, no first-year students should work. But I worked because I needed the money.
Yeah.
And I worked, I handed cards out, I brought in business. When I graduated, they kept me. They said, you're not going anywhere, you're staying right here. And I kept working, bringing in business. The firm split between Mr. Farrington and his partners. I stayed with him because he was a lover of history. He had been an army officer, I'd been a cadet. We both loved history, that was our passion. And he invited me to join the World War II club of senior lawyers and judges, all of whom were old enough to be my parent when I was still clerk. And so we had that bond, and so I stayed with him, and in 1993, he made me his partner. We bought a new office in Bowie in 1995, moved in 96. He died suddenly, tragically, of a heart attack in 97. And I bought what was left of the business. So I tell young people, when you go to work somewhere, be hardworking, be dedicated to your employer and do the best you can and then some. And be loyal and be disciplined in mission compliance. Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, how can I help you? Those values came from my parents, my socialization in the Cadet Corps program. In the Cadet Corps program, people shout at you, you know, left turn, right turn, stand at ease, this, that, and the other. You come late, they have you run around the field with a 303 rifle above your head. I started the Cadet Corps at 11 years old. So getting into organizations like that and getting into student leadership helped me in my law career. Helped me to interact in a team with others, helped me to understand the importance of not only giving orders, but being able to take orders and being diligent in all that I did. And we now represent technology companies in the solar space, technology companies in recycling. We are working with Genesis Engineering Solutions, which is a NASA contractor, which has built a single-person spaceship. Led by Robert Rashford, who was born in Jamaica and managed the Hubble for about 21 years, certain aspects of the Hubble. So we are involved in a very dynamic outreach to Africa. We are working with the U.S. Algerian Business Council. We brought Algeria to the United States to do their biggest expo in the history of that country. We want to be able to do the same for Guyana and other Caribbean countries. We just did a partnership with the University of Congo, Kinshasa. The biggest Central African university, 35,000 students. And it's the oldest Central African university, started by the Belgians in the 50s. And so our law firm is a civil and criminal litigation firm. We do civil cases in the way of injury, contract, tax, and of course criminal defense. But increasingly, we do what is called community development law, partnering with innovative businesses in the science and technology space, because law is changing, artificial intelligence is coming. A lot of things that people would hire lawyers to do in the past, in time to come, people will go on their computer and put in a few codes, bingo, things will get done. But so the law firm in the 21st century has to be dynamic, it has to take on a new orientation, that is to not be reactive, that is to wait for clients to come to you, but to be proactive and go out and churn and create business opportunity that can benefit the community within which we do business.
So your law firm then is in that mode right now?
Absolutely.
Where you are going out to, like, you're now in Guyana,
Yes.
and you're looking at 3 or 4 specific themes,
Yes.
right? One is aviation. Tell us about that and
The three
others.
themes
The
come
three-
out of our passion,
Right.
because everything we do is passion driven
yeah.
and is thought through.
Mm.
So we know global warming is real,
Mm.
despite what some famous people might say.
Mm.
It's real.
Mm.
Just last year, they had to declare an emergency in Beijing
Mm.
because of pollution.
Mm.
They had to declare an emergency in Delhi because of pollution. They had to stop cars from driving. People had to stay home.
Yeah.
Global warming is real. Guyana is a carbon sink. By that I mean, because of the Amazon and the enormous forest reserve that Guyana possesses, it's a carbon sink. It takes carbon out of the atmosphere. We need to preserve that in Guyana. Guyana has struck oil, but Guyana's government wisely has decided to build, to its credit, a green economy. And I think all sides in Guyana agree that that's the best way to go. So that the money from the fossil fuel industry will then propel a technology revolution in Guyana to have Guyana be a beacon of green economy initiatives in energy. So we are in the energy space in 2 areas: energy from waste and energy from the sun. And we've met with partners here, so through PAGI and the Africa Business Roundtable, we can promote those technologies. The Tuskegee Airmen has spun off the Major Anderson Tuskegee Airmen Maintenance Academy. The International Civil Aviation Authority.
Repeat that. The Tuskegee Airmen have done what? They spun off
Yes, maintenance company.
a maintenance company.
Maintenance, aviation maintenance.
Okay.
It's led by Jerome Hodges.
Okay.
Jerome Hodge is a 24-year veteran of the U.S. Air Force with 19,000 hours, flight hours as a flight engineer. And he has 3 shops. One at BWI, Thurgood Marshall Airport, where he's headquartered, and has a major hangar. He has hangars at DC National and at Dulles Airport, where he fixes everything from the smallest Cessna to the latest Boeing 777 for major airlines like Lufthansa and so on. And has all the certifications in international air.
And this is an African.
This is an African American,
American. Okay.
U.S. Air Force veteran,
Mhm.
worked on fighter planes and helicopters,
Yeah.
and now he's training people. And
He
we
owns 3 hangars.
3 hangars,
Right.
and
Over 100
owns-
people that are employed.
owns Avdyne Aero Services. Avdyne Aero Services.
AVDYNE.
AVDYNE,
Okay.
Aero Services. And our law firm represents Mr. Hutch, and we have a mandate from him to partner with Guyana, and we've spoken to Colonel Fields, who's the head of civil aviation here, and he had a phone conference with Mr. Hodge, and we hope to do some partnering, some collaborative to enhance capacity, because civil aviation in Guyana is growing
Yes.
at a very meteoric pace because of the economy that's now being developed. And so we need to have internal capacity. For us, Norman, as you know, everything begins with education. And we believe that to build capacity in Guyana, in aviation, we need partnerships. To build capacity in the green energy space, we need partnerships. Another company, of course, is Real Green Organics, which takes organic waste and transforms it based on input into either animal feed, fertilizer, or energy pellets. And so you can take care of urban and other agriculture waste. So those are the kind of science-driven initiatives that our law firm, in partnership with the Caribbean Business Alliance, that is led by a distinguished Guyanese. He was once the marketing director at the Washington Post, Royston D'Souza. I've known Royston for close to 40 years. He ran, at one point when I came to Washington, the Kaicha Restaurant and Nightclub. Of course, no Guyanese has ever heard the word Kaicha, I'm sure. But it was the best club, the best restaurant, and Royston is a superlative person.
In the 1940s.
No, not the 1940s,
Okay.
1980s.
1980s.
1980s. And he says that he remembers me as always making out all right at the club. I'm a West Indian at heart, I like music, but I never forgot my studies. And he now owns as well Caribbean Cargo. And 2 years ago we invited the First Lady of Guyana, as we had invited Mr. Ramata before, to Washington, Sandra Granger, and we had her at the University of Maryland Conference Center on a very nice Saturday afternoon with the Caribbean community. And I want to share this anecdote because it's very important. So, Royston and the others came in their suits and ties. I came in my white shirt jack because when I when I was growing up in Dominica in 1972, I went to the version of QC. So in the Caribbean, in every island, the British had a school like QC, or 2 or 3. Jamaica, you have Jamaica College, Kingston College, Calabar, Wolmer's. Barbados, you have Combermere, Harrison College, Lodge School. Trinidad, you have Presentation, QRC, Criswell College, St. Mary's, right? So each of the islands have this setup. In Dominica, it was a Dominican grammar school. We had blazer, woolen blazer, woolen tie, white shirt, in the hot sun. So in 72, under the influence of Burnham and I guess black consciousness and consciousness.
Those were dynamic times.
Dynamic times. We had the shirt jack, which is what I see Norman you're wearing tonight. So
I never came out to the age.
So I put on my shirt jack and I said I'm not gonna. It was a summer. I think it was summer. And I was saying to the audience, when I came to the United States, I came with a Guyana shirt. So you see, Guyana is my blood. Because my brother, the veterinary surgeon who studied in India, used to come to Guyana for animal health conferences. Ripaha, I think it was called. Yes. He used to say the Pegasus. Or is it Pegasus?
Pegasus.
Pegasus. And he bought me a Guyana shirt. Very nice shirt. Made of local products. I think in those days Guyana had a cotton gin, cotton meal, and made cotton. Meal, and the shirt, all the buttons on the Guyanese made shirt were made of coconut shell. Burnham, President Burnham at the time wanted to do import substitution. He was also making another thing my brother brought home to Dominica called carambola. The sweet,
five fingers, called 5 fingers.
Something like that. So he was doing all these dynamic things. People try to talk about Burnham, about the mistakes he made. Well, perfection reigns only in heaven. Who among us? We've all fallen short of the glory of God. But the vision he had was a noble one. He was trying to do import substitution, create foreign exchange opportunities, build local capacity. So I came to the United States with that shirt. And I was saying to Ms. Granger, that's what I did. And when she came to the podium to speak, after I'd finished, she said, Christian, that was a very interesting anecdote, but I'd like to advise you, regrettably, that all those factories have closed, that they no longer exist. So I said to her later, well, with the newfound oil wealth, Guyana needs to get back to building its industry and get back to building up its agriculture so that it can begin to produce those things and not just, waste the oil income on trifles, and what you call show projects, but on sustainable development projects that can help grow a new and dynamic economy in
capacity
Guyana.
Building in a real sense, and this is where all of the energy inputs and all of the ways to deal with the changes is due to the climate change.
Yes.
Because these are all real things.
Yes, and Guyana will be helping not just Guyana; it will be helping the world, because in a way, the Guyana's forest, the Amazon, is like a big scrubber, trying to scrub the world of the carbon that's being increasingly produced to our detriment.
Well, now you have written, this is not the only book you've written, you have written other books.
Yeah, so my writing partner is the Right Honourable Justice Irvin Andre, Dr. Andre, of the Superior Court of Brampton, Ontario. We were children in the independence movement, I said children, teenagers, and we were in an independence group with Rosie Douglas when he had been deported from Canada. And we would study, political. He gave me a book called Common Sense by the American Revolutionary Thomas Paine, one of the pamphleteers of the American Revolution. And we'd read about socialism and what the Cuban Revolution was doing and about the African Liberation Movement. So I named my first child Samora, after Samora Machel of Frelimo. We used to support Frelimo. And I named my son Makonnen after Ras Makonnen of Adwa, the Ethiopian general who was the father of Emperor Selassie. And we represent Emperor Selassie's family for 27 years, the law firm has. And I've been honored by the Ethiopian royal family, the Crown Council, Prince Ermias Selassie, Haile Selassie is our client. And my son is named as a result of that relationship, because the relationship with Ethiopia precedes my children being born. So this book is my memoir. It's called Aboard the Comandante Pineras. Here is Maurice Bishop of the Grenada Revolution, Rosie Douglas, Dominica, Michael Manley, Jamaica, and of course Fidel Castro, who of all four leaders was the last one to die in 2016, I think.
Yeah.
And this is the boat that I was on board from Montego Bay, 1978, July, with Vincent Alexander. And I also met someone in the presidency, Frederick
Wilfred.
Frederick McWilfred, who was also at that festival. So this meeting here in Guyana has been a reunion of persons who were all at that event back in 1978 when I was a teenager, of course, and we were all trying to find a path forward to bettering our communities.
Yeah, but it is critical when we think of, when we look at TV programs and we look at what we want to leave with the audience. Life, when you engage in it at an early age, you never know what will happen 40 years later.
I mean, you know,
it is amazing when you show me this picture of this boat.
Yes.
And you said you were on this boat with these folks. And
several became prime ministers.
Prime
Ramata
minister,
became president of Ghana.
Prime ministers, presidents, people who have played significant roles in fashioning
the Caribbean.
We know today. And the
head of our delegation, Pierre Charles, became prime minister of Dominica.
But the message is that kids, the young people, engage. You must engage, because if you don't engage,
yes,
then there is no next step. There is no next 40 years. It's blank.
I posit there's no life.
There's no life.
I tell my children, you cannot go through college without volunteering your time in some worthy cause. You know, be it the Red Cross, the Boy Scouts, Tuskegee community service. You have to serve. You know, service is a noble thing. It's the most noble thing. I mean, if you were to look at it from a Christian perspective, you're serving the best needs of mankind. Jesus Christ, he served all of us by sacrificing his life. And all great leaders worthy of being emulated gave much in way of service. And I think that's the message I'd like to extend, because coming here to Guyana, I see where all the things I've been involved with all my life was but preparation for this moment. I didn't just show up. I was coming to Guyana and I called Kitindi Van West Charles, the grandson of President Byrne. He worked at my office as a clerk. Years ago, he's now a lawyer in Canada. How did I know? I'm married. My brother Sam married June Rosamond Henry, whose father, Oscar Henry, was Burnham's cabinet secretary and worked at Gaisuko. He would tell me about Guyana and Palawala. He said the Palawalas were the people from the small islands. I said, why do you call him Palawala? He said, well, they spoke fast and they spoke a thing that sounded like Palawala. And so, you know, I learned all these things from him about Guyana. You know, and of course in Washington, my closest lawyer friend, other than my tax buddy, Ed Layden, is Shanta Ramson. Her brother was Attorney General in the PPP government. Shanta and I have been doing business for 25 years. And she came to the event with Sandra Granger. I invited her, she came, we had a good time. And so, you know, we have in the United States very little of the sort of the fissures that sometimes divide us in our home countries. We work together, we understand our polarity, and we eat our roti, and we work together and get married and have children and represent and go to each other's families' funerals, and we go to the weddings, and you know, it's that kind of unity and solidarity and networking that I think Ipaji really believes in, and that kind of bonding across all lines is what will benefit Guyana and all countries in the Caribbean.
Now, one of the things that I hope the audience is getting out of this is the need, as I said before, to engage. The passion one needs to have, but also you have to have your own vision. Share a little bit about your vision in terms of the next 5 years for yourself, because you are, as I see it, you have got so much energy
I give thanks.
It better be consumed, the rest you will explode.
I give thanks. I'm extremely fortunate to have had the parents I've had. I'm extremely fortunate to have the family that I have. I'm extremely fortunate to have had the clients that I've had. Clients I've helped them, and they in turn have turned back and helped me. When my father died, I looked at the church congregation half the people I'd represented over the years. So in the next 5 years, I would like to continue the work we're doing in Africa, strengthen the work we're doing in the Caribbean, places like Guyana, keep encouraging Caribbean intellectuals, Caribbean professionals in the diaspora to unite around institutions that can help our respective islands and territories like Jamaica and Guyana and so on. Because truly, our diaspora is a very important resource. Not only to send home barrels and television sets and clothes and so on, but to help in education partnerships between universities in the United States and in the Caribbean. To help solidify relationships between technology companies in the United States and elsewhere and in the Caribbean. To be that connective tissue or that platform atop which can ride the resource of technology transfer, the resource of financial or capital transfer, investment, and the important resource of human relationships. Because someone said to me, your net worth is actually a result of your network. So if we don't network in ways big and small, our net worth will be diminished. And when I say net worth, not simply in financial terms, but relationships help in connecting people to educational opportunity, investment opportunity, opportunities in healthcare, opportunities in social welfare, in opportunities in disaster relief. When Dominica was hit by Hurricane Maria, I had made friends with Mel Tawahadi. Mel Tawahadi is a financier in Denver, Colorado. His father fought the Italians under Emperor Selassie, and he was a senator, his father was, in Selassie's government. His father was governor of Harar. And after the revolution, he told me he slept in the streets in Sudan as a refugee, came to Canada and was number 3 in all of Canada in financial services management, and came to Denver and became treasurer to the Ethiopian Crown Council. So I called him on the evening of the 18th of September and said, Mel, my country has been destroyed. We had just gone to Jamaica the year before, 2017, to donate $700,000 to the Emperor Haile Selassie High School, which had been donated to Jamaica by Emperor Selassie when he visited that country in 1966. Mel said, tomorrow, Gabe, I'm meeting with the director of Project Hope. I can get them to bring supplies to Dominica, but we have to leverage 20,000. We had created Rebuild the Dominica as a non-profit, but we didn't have $20,000. He said, Gabe, I will put 10,000 if you put 10,000. So he put 10,000, I put 10,000. We leveraged 20,000. We got the support of the community of Dominicans in Washington, D.C. and others, and leveraged $1.2 million.
From 20,000 to 1.2 million.
That's right. That was relationship producing a net worth, if ever there was one. Had I not known Mel Tawahadi, had Mel Tawahadi not known the director of Project Hope, you know, all of those things. Had I not volunteered to serve the Crown Council, the Crown Council position is a voluntary position. I support the Crown Council because I believe in the efforts Emperor Selassie made to build the Organization of African Unity, to build the first university in Ethiopia, to build up Air Ethiopia. Today is the 3rd wealthiest airline in history. Air Ethiopia owns about 8 other airlines and has not changed their names. It's doing all the back office. They ordered the first or second latest 777. So Emperor Selassie was a nation builder, and we need more like him in Africa who are nation builders, not nation destroyers. And so in the next 5 years, I intend to pursue my lifelong passion for African development in the diaspora, in the Caribbean, and to forge partnerships between diverse groups and diverse people, because I believe in diversity, find our way to bond in human solidarity to produce the beloved society that Dr. Martin Luther King believed in, where each of us will be judged not by the color of our skins, but by the content of our character. That is what I would like to do, and I would like to do it, frankly, as long as the good Lord gives me breath.
But he's doing a pretty good job now, because you have had a very long day and it's not finished yet.
I know. I want to blame Olive Sampson and Eve Blackman and one nippy Norman for being just outstanding host here in Guyana, and allowing me to be in your company and to try to make my contribution on behalf of the firm in Washington, all those, Mr. Christian, Ms. Thomas, Ms. Brooks, all the folks up at the office, Mr. Lara, Ms. Colbert, Mr. Layden, all those on our team, Ms. Mina, who are helping so I can be here, because I think we've met some very good people and we hope to be able to work with them to build a better dispensation.
Now we certainly appreciate that, but so we want to have one more last word from you, right?
Yes.
But want to say one thing, that as we listen to Gabriel here, we want to understand that what he's talking about is a process that starts from your high school, and once you engage, and with no excuses, you engage and you follow your passion, you never know where it's going to end up, whether it is helping to rebuild Dominica, helping to grow societies or groups in Ethiopia. You never know where it is going to end, but you do know that you're leaving a footprint and that you're not alone, because once you engage, you build networks. Networks are critical, because like the mangrove plant here, you form roots that you don't know exist until you show up, but you could not have known that you would have met Vincent and what both of you would have been doing 40 years ago, at the time you were all on the boat together. Right? So it is critical to understand that even though we don't know exactly what is in it for me tomorrow or what's in it for me today, if you do participate and you do engage, there is a path that you're following. If you don't engage, there's also a path you're following. But one, as you said, there's no life, and one, there is.
That's right.
Right? And we need to understand that we must engage with a passion, and we must understand that we cannot predict with 100% certainty what's going to happen tomorrow, other than if we don't engage, we know that nothing will happen. Your last word.
We all are masters of our destiny, where we follow true north. And what is true north? True north, in simplest terms, really means acting with a degree of sincerity in all things. Don't engage people simply for what it is you can get. Engage others so you can serve the best needs of humanity. Be a humanitarian. Follow the old golden rule. Do unto others as you'd like done unto you. If we follow those basic principles, we stand a much better chance of having a better world than we have now. And too often it is the case people do things out of political motive, out of racial prejudice, out of bias, out of self-gratification, not thinking about the consequences of their actions. None of us are perfect. All of us are imperfect vessels. I testify. I'm an imperfect vessel. But if we try our best, I think to reflect on the fact that those of us who are educated share that knowledge. Those of us who have relationships share those relationships. There's a book I'm going to recommend to your audience. I'm not getting any benefit from it, but it's by a guy out of Harvard Business School called Keith Ferrazzi. It's called Never Eat Alone, The Art of Relationship Building. Everything in life is relationship based. We need to invest more in relationship building so we can create the solidarity, the organizational cohesion by which we can prosper.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for that, and for that final word. Thank you very much.
Norman, I appreciate you, and I appreciate Channel 9 and all those folks near and far who've worked with me in community and organization to advance the onward march of our civilization.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And we would like to say to our audience, thank you very much for continuing to watch. And until next time, I'm Norman McQueen. Good night.